See if I'm on. Oh, here we go. Here's my mic. Let's see if we get a lot of viewers. If not, I'm just gonna share thoughts about the channel immediately. In fact, you know, somebody who's I'm gonna try to keep this on my channel. This time, I usually get rid of my lives, but this time, I think I'm gonna try to keep it up, maybe, because I'm gonna have some thoughts to share. Hey E1, nice to see you. Just making sure that this all sounds good. Does this sound good for anybody who's the 3 people who are here at the start? Is it too loud, too soft? Just let me know either way. Same 6? I don't know what that... Oh, same 6 p.m. Pacific time. 9 o'clock for others. Okay, without wasting too much time, because some people are going to click this video, I think, immediately, hoping to hear whatever my reflections or announcements might be. And then I'm going to, go on in the night for an hour or two as these live streams go, answering questions, etc., just rambling on. But yeah, let's start with announcements. Okay, first of all, clean and clear, very good, very good. I really wish I had some kind of mounted setup for this, but my mount broke, so whatever. I'm actually kind of liking just holding this thing. Anyway, let's announce things. I don't want to get carried away with my own ramblings. It always happens. Always happens. Probably going to happen again very soon, even if I promise I'm going to start talking about real things. Okay, first of all, as you guys can see, in terms of what I'm doing right now on the channel, there's a lot of stuff. So I'm just like on a mission right now to just unload every single IEM I have from the last 2 years that my channel's been up, a year and a half, and just make sound demos of them. Some people, I think, for some reason, thought that because I'm doing sound demos now, that I'm not doing reviews anymore, and that's not really true. It's just that, I'm like a full-time teacher. Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 o'clock, essentially, I'm just not available to do any work on this channel. So, and when I get home, it's taking care of my toddler and my little baby girl. So there's really not much time in the weekdays unless I'm squeezing something in somehow, but it's like a magic trick to be able to do it. So, if I was a full-time reviewer, I would be producing reviews probably a couple a week, no problem. But as it is right now, the reason why there's only demos and not reviews is because when I do make a review, I'm like just super, super focused on making that review. Once I've decided what review I want to make, because I sometimes go back and forth. People on Discord might know in my journal, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have this great idea I want to do for my next video. I want to do a review of the Zenz brand, for example. But then when I only have like 1 day a week on the weekend to actually act on it, to start, I don't script, but to start kind of like mentally outlining how it will look and thinking, reflecting, like starting to actually put that energy and mental time into planning out what I'm going to compare it to, or which IEM I'm going to pick up from my collection and listen to in the car ride to work, because I'm considering making it a point of comparison in that review video. As soon as that process starts to hit, I'm like all in, but it takes time, and time is my most valuable resource. Like I'm really like limited in that regard. I have as many IEMs as Linsole wants to send me, which is great. I'm very, very fortunate that money is not my limiting resource here, in practical terms. Are there things that I wish I could access that Linsole does not provide me? Sure. There's other companies like 64 Audio, to name one, that just don't have any affiliation with Linsole's storefront. So like anything that's on Linsole's storefront, I can get, but anything outside of that, I have to pay for with my own money. I don't have any special partnerships with anyone necessarily, not consistently. I have to like contact them and hope that they'll send me something if they think it'll do well for their business, I guess. But anyway, what I'm rambling again. Jeez. But it is about my channel this time. So there's that. What was I going to say? This always happens to me. Gosh. You know what? Let me read the comments. It'll come back to me. Let me see what you guys are asking at the start of this stream. I'm going to, please, anybody who's just joining, ask me anything this entire time at any point. I can't promise I'm going to be able to answer every single question in the chat, but I'll do my best. Along the way, I'm going to be picking my own brain and spilling it out into the stream for you guys to hear what's up with my channel, what's up with my thoughts on the whole industry, etc., etc., etc. Typical stream stuff. Okay, so somebody says, thank you for the MEST MKII recommendation. The relaxed ear gain is just what I wanted. I'm very happy that you're happy with it, assuming that you actually do have it now, or you're just referring to a demo and you're still waiting for it, but cool. Do you not keep Sennheiser IE200 anymore? I sold it. That was something that I either sold it or I returned it through Amazon. I can't remember. Once I had my strong impression of it, once I had it in my ears for a while, in order to form an opinion either for my ranking list or a review somewhere, I sold it because it's just that was one of those things that was a big hit in my wallet, and at that time especially, I don't know if I had sponsorship money yet from Linsol, but back then I was much more tight about if I'm going to spend money on something out of pocket, it's going to be something that either is a knockout punt, like just a fantastic set that I love and that I want to keep referencing in the future, or it's something I'm going to sell basically. If it's not that, or if it's like super popular, maybe. Let's keep reading here. But you know what? Speaking to that horror movie Indo sub, I actually have been recently thinking about the IE600 because I have the IE200. It's right here. Okay, it's in this. Oh, it's in this. They come in this pouch here. I actually kind of like this. Like, I don't know if it's real leather. I kind of feel like it's not, but it has that leather effect. I kind of really like it, even though it's just a pouch and it doesn't seem like it would protect anything. I kind of dig the minimal form factor. Like, this is as minimal as you could feasibly really get. It's just like a pouch tightly wrapped around the IM. Not sure if I dig the corners, but it's a good solution that like you can just like open and close it with tension, like pressure, and it snaps back satisfyingly. Not bad. Anyway, I've been thinking about getting the IE600 to add to. Wait, that's not that same thing. Oh my goodness, it was right next to it. They look so similar. Okay, that was actually a different one. This sharp metal thing, that's not a Sennheiser thing. They would not have that exposed, I guess. This was... What was this? Hold on. I can't remember every single case. I do usually, actually. Oh, this is Truthier. Okay, that one was a Truthier Hexa inside there. But it's the same idea with the Sennheiser, but a little more soft, a little more delicate. Not as corner like cutting as the other one. Same idea, tension released, but it's not as tense. It's not as grippy. But that's Sennheiser. Wait, is that another earphone that's not Sennheiser? No, that's Sennheiser. Yeah. It's got the branding logo on the front. Anyway, yeah. Let's answer another question. Upcoming videos, my good sir. State of channel. The state of channel is this. So this is the thought I was on at the start. So I'm uploading all of my collection from the last couple years, everything that I still have anyway. And once I unload the majority of at least the popular things, the mainstream things, or things that I just personally like, once I give my channel that kind of catalog feeling where people can look up practically anything that anyone cares about in the community, in the marketplace as it currently stands, then I want to return to doing reviews. Specifically, I'm thinking of doing brand reviews, like going through all of the Moondrops and just making one video about Moondrop, one video about, 7 hertz or whatever, one video about HBB, all his collaborations in one video, maybe. But the thing is, I also noticed that when I put too many products in one video, I can get kind of bogged down by it a little bit, and the focusing in on which comparisons are meaningful to share becomes kind of lost when you have so many things you have to hit. I mean, it's just like math, like if you want to allot 10, 15 seconds per little byte before you switch to another set, well, a track is only 2-3 minutes long unless you play the full duration of a track, maybe 3-4 minutes, and in my video, and you'll only get through like 3 or 4 little bytes, maybe, each minute of listening. And if one track is supposed to share like all of what female vocals can represent for the IEMs being considered, then there's going to be, like, if you have 8 IEMs to look at, you can't really have each of them touch on that female vocal track in the video, not in a way that feels satisfying. So what I usually do is I really pare down what I'm going to look at to the absolute essentials of what I think are important to compare something against, and I go from there. So, like, I don't like to bother with things that I don't think are very worthwhile unless I'm making a point. And usually that point is very short. Like, usually if there's something that I really don't like the sound of, like, I actually really didn't like the cadenza, the Kiwi Ears cadenza. And I think it might have appeared in a video. And there have been similar things that I don't like the sound of very much. And when they make their appearance in a video because they're currently hot or whatever in the community, it shows up for like 15 seconds in a track before I just like never show it again, or maybe like one more time for 2 seconds just to like really spell out to everybody, like, compared to everything else you're looking at, it's not worth your ear time. It's not worth spending that much time comparing. That's kind of my style generally with these things. Anyway, so I don't know if brand reviews are next or what, but my most immediate video that I'm actually really excited about doing next, like immediately this weekend if I can. I keep telling myself this weekend. No, this is it. No, this weekend's it. No, wait, that didn't work out. I didn't have time. Next weekend's it. It keeps happening this way because, I'm a dad and there's like stuff to do and a wife to ensure feels like I'm not leaving her alone with the children all the time. I can't just do my stuff. I'd feel incredibly guilty, and I'd probably get a lot of guilt for it too. I already feel like, even though I don't do nearly as much time on this channel as somebody who's full-time might, I still feel like with the time I spend on it, it's valuable to instead be present with the kids. So yeah, it's tough. But my next video, I do want to be this weekend if possible. I'm trying to work on it right now. I've been working on it in the in-between hours. I've been listening to, let me show you. So I've been listening to the Timeless AE a lot, and I'm working on trying to tune these, not with like undoing the chassis and changing the hardware inside, although I'm sure, that's the way it's done in real life for manufacturers, but like just to give a proof of concept of what a hard tuning might look like that I would like to have happen. I've been going into like my equalizers, my software-based EQs, and I've been tweaking things. I've been going to the bass, the treble, et cetera, and I've been trying to really find that home run sound, like something that I think is perfect as far as that IM can produce for my liking, like really personalized, something very Dan, something very fun. And I've actually narrowed it down to a sound that I love, like that I really feel like would be a smash hit in the community. Like really, I feel like I've been around long enough in this review stuff, and I've heard enough to know what I like. And I'm sure every reviewer has their own personal tastes. But my tastes, I feel like, are really... Is this like a little egotistical to say, but I'm going to say it anyway? Nobody else is listening but people who care about my channel anyway? Okay. I think my tastes are really good. Like, I really think if 7 Hertz did accept my suggestions for an offshoot product of the Timeless AE with my suggestions, it would be a home run. I can't imagine the sound that I was able to tune with these things through EQ is so, I feel like so marvelously, like it just notches up ever so slightly with the clarity, so you feel the separation, but it notches up the bass too, so you feel more presence, and it's just the right balance. And I'm just like, I want people to hear it. So my next video is letting you hear it. I'm going to play my playlist like I always do with my demo tracks, but I'm going to play it with EQ turned on, with the settings that I've been really adjusting, fine tuning, and all that. But I feel like there's a chance that they won't pick me up for my suggestions, and they're not going to even bother manufacturing even a prototype. So on the greater chance that I shouldn't put all my eggs in one basket, I'm also looking at tuning other things. So I have a whole table to choose from, and I'm thinking, like, what if I pick up Kiwi ears and try to tune it? What if I pick up a Truth Ear set, or maybe not Truth Ear? I'm trying to work with something that Linsol has partnerships with. So 7 Hertz is a big Linsol company. Linsol and 7 Hertz are like that. I don't know the details exactly, but my understanding on the back end, talking to leadership at Linsol, through my brief conversations as a reviewer to them, my impression is that they have a tight partnership with Linsol, with 7 Hertz. They might even, I don't know if they own them, but they're like very close. So, and there was one point where I think they were sort of opening up the door to accepting suggestions, and it sounded like maybe a collab was going to happen, but I don't know if it fell through. I don't know if it ended, or if they're just got busy. I don't know. But I'm going to publish. I'm like so tired. I'm like so tired of waiting for someone to like make something happen with me, to notice me, senpai, as they say. That my strategy now is to create a video like this weekend again, if I can, or at least very soon. My next video, I want to be a compilation of 2, 3, maybe 4 different IEMs with my suggestions for people to hear. I'm not going to show on the video. I have to be careful about this. If I show the exact adjustments that I've made on EQ in that video, who's to say some manufacturer isn't going to steal my idea? Like KZ or some other manufacturer that produces a lot of products constantly. Who's to say they couldn't release one easily without my name on it? Because they know it'll sound, because they just like basically looked at the cheat sheet and they were like, oh, that sounds really good and the community loves it. We're just going to release one in our own name. We're not going to give them any royalties. I mean, like, these things I wonder could happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to show any graphs of things in that video, but I will let people hear what my EQ has, what it impacts. And those I'm also going to email the manufacturers of those products and link them to the video to let them see the community and how they responded, to hear it for themselves, what my suggestions could more or less sound like. And hopefully somebody will bite. But it's a shot in the dark. I really don't know. I'm just like, how do people get collaborations going? People need to hear my sound. It sounds good. Okay, let's read some more questions here. Okay. I'm really loving. Wait. Let me go up. I always wonder about. This is from Novin. Says, I always wonder about these reviewers that get demo IEM from Linsol or something. Well, I think a lot of reviewers just get contacted, and are offered. I'm contacted and offered by different individual people sometimes. They say like, hey, we would like to send you our newest product for you to review. I always respond with, I can't promise a review, but I will promise that I will listen to it, and there's a chance it could be reviewed. But now, because I'm doing all these sound demos, regardless of whether or not I make a full review with commentary about the IEM, I can now say in those emails, I guarantee a sound demo will be shared on the channel. There will be a demo on the channel for your product, but I can't promise I'm going to review it. And to be honest, I think that puts them off a little bit. I sometimes don't get emails back from that at all, but that's my business. You know, I don't have that much time. I just don't. It's not personal. It's not offensive. I'm not trying to like act holier than thou than these people who are reaching out to me to send me products. I just literally can't do it for every product sent to me. But anyway, let me keep reading the reviews. Rodrigo says the channel, it's good. Or actually, he spelled it the Chanel. The Chanel is good. You don't like Chanel? You're doing great. Thank you, Rodrigo. Ankaro says, have you tried the Blessing 3? I actually reached out to Linsol asking for Blessing 3. I asked for a bunch of other products. I have a much tighter partnership. I mean, I have a contractual partnership, actually, a sponsorship agreement, if you will, with Linsol, where they provide me literally any product I ask for from from their store, and they're pleased to give me the samples, which is phenomenal. I couldn't be more grateful for that doorway into their inventory. But and I also do get some amount of money as well, which I can't disclose for obvious reasons. They didn't sign. There was nothing there was nothing in the agreement that says I can't disclose anything. I could disclose whatever I want legally, but professionally, I think it would be very poor taste, and they probably look very down on me sharing details. I could be paid $100 a year, like something like Bookkiss for me, and it would still be unprofessional to share it. But I will say I don't get paid a lot. Like, it's not a full-time job. Like, I'm a teacher, and teachers don't get paid a lot. And the amount that I get paid by Linsol is, let's just say, a lot less than what I get paid as a teacher. So it's not like a full-time salary worth, but it's definitely a sizable enough amount that it really helps me maintain things in life behind the scenes, and keeps me motivated to keep going and try to aim for more. And it's a real job, basically. Not with the fullest of salaries, but I'm also not full-time, so it's understandable. Okay, next question. Does dongle DAC is enough to enjoy the hobby? I'm a full-time, after just saying I'm not a full-time reviewer, but the words just ended up spilling out of my mouth anyway, because it feels like it sometimes with the state of my channel being successful and it's nice and everything. I'm not a full-time reviewer, but as a figure of speech, yes, I am. I use dongles every single, I'm constantly looking at this camera, but this one's the bigger camera in the space, so maybe I should be looking there. No, I'm more comfortable here, whatever. I use dongles for my iPhone. This is just a simple 3.5 to Lightning for everything, literally everything, except not literally. I don't use it for things like the FATfreq Maestro SE. There are certain IMs like that one that are just super power hungry. And I can see it on my decibel readers. Like, my volume will be on my MacBook Pro here, will be at the same volume level indicated by the operating system, and yet two different IMs plugged into it will read at that same volume, higher or lower decibels in my software, which is really just directly to say, the obvious. Everybody knows this in this hobby. Some IEMs are just quieter at the same volumes. They are power hungry, as we say. They require more electricity to get their drivers going or whatever. And there are certain things that a dongle is not enough, where an assisted power, where you need more assistance, where something with a little more, with something power in addition to whatever flows through this adapter could provide. But by and large, you really don't need it. Unless you're going for something very power hungry, like the full fat stuff or the FATfreq Maestro. You really buy in like 90. What's the correct ratio here? I don't know. I can point to almost everything on my desk, and almost nothing needs additional power for me to feel like I'm at my preferred listening volume. The Sennheiser stuff, dongle. 7 hertz, all dongle, all adapter. That's it for the 7 hertz brand. Like, buy it. Like, there are certain brands where like they just don't produce things that require that much more power in general. Moondrop, I've never had to use anything with additional power. Truth Ear, Try. It's really rare to require more power. Even my unique Melody MEST, which is like even these like powerhouse sets of like high tier, high cost, stuff, often doesn't need additional power to enjoy it. Good listening volumes. Now, if you can get into a debate over like, does additional power help though with the sound quality even at a lower volume? I'm not going to pretend to know the answer to that. Okay. But I will share my assumption that it probably doesn't make a difference. But that's only an assumption. I don't know the science well enough to say that for fact. I think we all kind of secretly have that assumption that like a lot of this extra power stuff is a little bit nonsense. I think we all are kind of like healthily born into this hobby with that healthy dose of skepticism to a degree. I shouldn't say all, because there's obviously a large market of people who do buy into having additional power on the go, even if the dongle provided good listening volume. But you also get into like people who like having these control interfaces on dedicated, amp DACs, people who like different like bass boost settings and stuff like that. I mean, to each their own. Anyway, let's keep reading. Zen says, I'm really loving the flood of demos a lot, to be honest. It's been awesome to play them to back in separate windows. The DIOKO demo sounds really, really close to life. Thank you so much. And I've been noticing that from a lot of people, which is really nice. I noticed it too when recording for the first time successfully on those couplers. Let's see if I can get a view on it. My room is a mess. There was a baby here. Let's see if we can get in on it. Okay, so this is like my recording table now, as you can see in your bottom right corner of your screen. If you look to your bottom right. So I have 2 simple lights to just light up my set. It's very simple. I just set the I really don't want to move my lighting, so I'll move my rig a little bit. I'll just push it 1 dimension this way so I don't get it wrong when I push it back. I don't know how well you can see it, but under there is one of the couplers, and on this side there's the second coupler. I keep my left channel and my right channel in 2 different locations, kind of spread apart from each other, because just in case the sound leaks into another coupler during recording or something. I don't know. Oh, you can see my whole screen there. I just realized that. Nothing to hide, really. It's just OBS. Okay. Wouldn't want to have like some like, I don't know, bookmarks or something. What I don't have anything weird. I'm about to record Canera. Not much to say about that. What was I saying again? I always forget what I'm saying all the time. All the time. I do this in class all the time. I forget what I'm saying. And then I ask my students, what was I talking about? And they're like, you were talking about this. And I was like, yes, thank you. So, yeah, where was I? Let me read the last one I read to catch up. The DIOKO. Oh, yeah. So when I noticed that too, when my demos first, my files were first successfully coming out of those couplers, and I had a whole week of like just messing with the couplers, trying my own coupler kind of situation. I bought like these little metal cylinders from Home Depot and just stuck like my old microphones in one end, and I am in the other end of this like little metal tube, and it actually sounded pretty good. I didn't share the samples with anybody, but it actually sounded pretty good. And I thought it was going to be some like, this is insane, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, of course it's going to sound bad. It's like this Home Depot little like valve thing that's like meant for like water flow or something in the plumbing section. And it turned out it actually was not bad. And then when I got these couplers in next, these like official industry standard like measuring couplers, I noticed that they're just basically metal tubes. And I'm like, oh, I guess they found out that sounds good too. Surprise, surprise. So anyway, I'm glad that you think it sounds realistic. I thought they sounded realistic too compared to everything else I had done in the past. There might be some peaking in certain areas. People kind of noted to me that the couplers have an inherent treble boost, something like at 3.5 kilohertz, 3,500 hertz. There might be a little boost there inherent to the couplers. So if I really wanted it to sound uber realistic, like just what's coming out of the IM, I could have in post-processing, you know, like with my EQ playback, one or the other, I could have depressed the 3,500 kilohertz section with like a single octave curve or something like that. But I just didn't want to mess with it. I thought to myself, you know what? There's issues with that because I've tried that in the past with certain files, and some IMs sound like they've been brought to fresh life, and some of them sounded like their life was taken from them. And I just didn't want to mess with something I didn't absolutely know for sure was the most appropriate thing to do. And if people want to EQ at home to make it sound better compensated for the gear I'm using, if there's a boost in my recording equipment and they want to nullify that boost on their own, all the power to you. Anyway, let me keep reading. I'm really loving the flood of demos. Oh, I read that. You missed the time Sennheiser mistakenly priced the IE600. Tons of people were able to check out. Oh, dang, that would have been nice, actually. And I think somebody shared that in my deals section on my Discord, too. I just skimmed the deals section. I didn't even think about it. I saw something like that. I should have acted on it. Dang. Wow. Okay. Would like to know your opinion on any of your newer gear. Does anything stand out right now? I.e. Blonde Z300? Okay, here's the thing about the newest gear, like the Blonde Z300 and the Moondrop LAN, all these things you're mentioning, the Truth Here Red. I haven't had a lot of time, especially during these like testing season at school. So I haven't been doing a lot of listening of new gear. I've been thinking more about like catching up with old gear. I mean, there's so much all the time that like I'm barely able to catch my breath on the new stuff. I have to like I have so many things that I wanted to hit on that I already developed opinions on personally that I might have put in my ranking list but didn't release a video yet on, that my brain was still thinking about old items that deserved a review. So I didn't really invest myself in listening to all this newer stuff yet. I probably, with some of them, I probably know only as much as you guys do. Like with the Z300, I never even put that in my ears yet. I only record, it went straight from the box to my recording rig just so I can put it up in the demos because I knew it was a new release. Maybe people wanted to watch or listen to it. I haven't had the time to develop an opinion. But I am actually right now, if I'm actually going to put this on screen, I'm actually right now making a new tab on my rankings list. Here, I'll link in the description for you guys. Or can I press this global share button? Is that better than just copying the URL? Probably. Okay, let me link this in the chat. So in the chat, you'll see a link to my recommendations list. Feel free to bookmark this. I'm going to be working on this in the next few weeks during the summer. I want to... Wait, what happened? Oh, no. Did this get deleted? I said duplicate, not delete. Wait, no, there was a whole thing that said like... Oh, no. What happened? That doesn't make any sense. Did I delete it by accident? Didn't even think about it? This is goofy, man. Okay, I just like Command Z everything. Hold on. Wait, now my keyboard's not working. What's happening? How is this like so busted? I can't click anywhere. Oh gosh. Is my internet broken? Oh my goodness, I'm probably lagging up the stream now too. Dang. Okay, so I'm going to carefully press duplicate. Okay. Now this one's going to be best by category. By style. And then I'm just going to have a tab that's just completely rankings. Hold on. Sorry if I've been super zen and calm lately. I'm sorry if I'm not some excited, goofy, over the top personality right now. I'm just like chilling, man. So if anybody's bored by like this guy sounds boring, I'm sorry. I'm just relaxed. It's 9 o'clock. It's 9:30 on a Saturday. I've been out all day. Leave me alone. So I'm gonna just reformat this really quickly. I'll be like cute with it, you know. I'll make things like feel nice. I'm just doing some minor things right now. So what I'm gonna do is Unique Melody MEST and FATfreq Maestro SE are pretty much gonna remain on the top of this list anyway. So I may as well just leave them, I guess. So I'm gonna turn this into a hold on. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna turn this into I need my second hand constantly. A total ranking list, because some people were asking for it. Some people were asking for like, just give us your like number one, your number two. Don't do this like categorical thing, which I have been doing for the last few months or whatever. I actually really like breaking up by their style, by what their impression kind it is. But I could see it. A pure ranking list is kind of nice, like a tier list. Okay, I'll save that for later. Just wanted to share that with you guys. That's something else I'm working on. Okay, let's go back to the questions and stuff, because I'm sure they keep piling up. Are you planning to hear the Sennheiser IE200? Oh yeah, I got it. Actually, it was one of my top recommendations. It's on that sheet. I highly recommend it if you want like an easygoing, balanced experience. It's not like warm or fuzzy. It's not going to envelop you like the FATfreq Maestro, the HBB stuff. There's a bunch of gear out there right now that's like a blanket around you and tastefully done, where you feel cozy and like a rich live sound. The Sennheiser is more like just like this neutral affect. It doesn't feel like a lively rich, but it is a wonderfully like easy to listen to. Like there's nothing that is offensive in it. Its fit is fine, and it's Sennheiser. It's like built to last a little bit, I feel like. I don't love MCX connectors, the one that's like they snap in really strong and they're like hard to get out. But I've grown to kind of like them. I usually prefer 2-pin, but 2-pins kind of wear over time and they fall out. They get looser in the holes, I've noticed. And it can kind of really bum you out when you like have a cable that you thought you really liked and then it just starts to fall out of your IEMs and there's nothing you can do about it. Or the IEM got loose, whatever it was. But there's something like wrong with 2-pins where they don't have the greatest lifespan all the time. So MMCX though seems pretty strong, even though it's a little annoying the way sometimes it's oriented a certain way that you don't like. But I think I'm growing fond of the MMCX connectors a little bit. Let's see. Let's keep going. When I see your sound demos, I worry about copyright strikes. How do you manage that with YouTube? Oh, wait. Did somebody super chat? Sorry, I just saw that. I'm so sorry. I should be very responsive to those. Harry Jackson, $10. Thank you so much. Wow. I mean, seriously, like every little bit helps. Absolutely. And thank you. Seriously, thank you. And he says, I've been cruising with the Katos. Any recommendations for a nice beater pair of IMs? Something that can be stuffed into a pocket. Okay, easy recommendation is a Salnotes Zero from 7Hz and Crinacle. It was a Crinacle collaboration. You know, one of the most famous reviewers, probably the most famous reviewer right now in the hobby. Biggest channel, absolutely just bonkers how big that guy seems to be getting. I guess well-deserved. He's been in the hobby for a long time. He has the largest database of measurements of anybody. I hope to have the largest database of sound demos soon. I probably already do, actually, in terms of IEMs. People just don't do it much. But anyway. So Salnotes Zero is an absolute recommendation for $20. Most $20 things I'm not a fan of, to be very honest. Like, I don't like the cadenza. I don't know if it was 20, the cadenza, but I know it was in that budget range, right? Was it 30 or 40 maybe? But it's still like budget, right? The Moondrop LAN is something that's probably a good consideration. A lot of people are hyped about it. I have not had it in my ears enough to have a strong opinion. But the Salnotes Zero is, whatever the current market looks like, the Salnotes Zero is a good pick. I recommend it. I stuffed it into this. Actually, this was a Zen's bag, which I really like. It's like soft and kind of like nice feel. And I used it, and this is actually the Salnotes Zero is inside of here. And I don't listen to it a lot, but I use this as my beater set precisely for that reason. I stuffed this in my backpack, and this is a recent thing. I historically I hadn't been doing it, but I recently considered it like, hey, you know what? Sometimes I don't want to have a bunch of like fancy IMs in my backpack and risk losing it and being concerned about it. Sometimes I just want to have this like as a backup, and it's in this soft pouch so it can go into any like little old small little pocket somewhere, and that's what I do. So if I ever have an emergency situation where I need to have something to monitor or to listen to something straight through an IEM without having too much coloration, one way or the other, Salnotes Zero is good, and it leans a little bit bright. It leans towards where I personally like. Generally, if I don't have some amount of treble to clear up the airspace in the music, the IM's dead on arrival for me. It needs to have some amount of treble somewhere to give it air, perceived separation, whatnot. Thank you again, Harry, for that very kind donation. Super chat. Okay, let's keep reading. 7 hertz. Wait, let me see. Hello, watching from Philippines. Hello, Nina. Sorry, this is way old. Me reading these comments that are way up the chat. The T3 Plus. Somebody asks about copyright strikes. The copyright strikes is not a problem because there's some tricks around it. You can't do certain things, like if you put the track name. I found this out the hard way. This is where I had a lot of when it turns out when I had a lot of copyright suddenly that was blocking my uploads and I didn't know why. I found out it was because I was including the track titles in my description next to the timestamps. And YouTube apparently, at the time at least, was scanning the description for track titles that were matching their database or something. So I never got, but for some reason, I mean, it knows what tracks are in the video because it like scans it first and it tells me while I'm uploading what tracks are in my video. So it knows what tracks I'm using, even if I don't state it in the description. And yet when I typed the names in the description, it said you can't upload it. I'm like, what? It's the same track. I just titled it so people know what's there. For some reason, that's the thing that ends it. So if you don't list the titles of a track in your description at all, and you just play it in your video, it will say you cannot get monetization. So monetization just doesn't happen for me. They did but there's no copyright strike for it. There are some things that will completely be blocked by certain like music producers in the past, but I haven't had such issue for a long time, and I think they've been changing things behind the scenes to make it actually easier to use copyrighted music. Most recently, they've made a big change where I noticed some of the tracks actually said that I could get revenue from using them, whereas in the past I couldn't at all. And they call it now revenue sharing. So what is happening, it seems, is that some of the revenue from advertisers on those revenue shared tracks will go to me, and some go to somebody else. Except in my case, I also use tracks in my playlists that are completely demonetized, that don't have any revenue sharing allowed. And so like if I have a video that contains both revenue shared tracks and non-revenue shared tracks, ones that are completely unmonetizable by me, period, it makes the whole video unmonetizable. And so I'm like, you know what, whatever. I'm not going to scurry around looking for revenue shared tracks. They keep changing their policies anyway. I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. I'm just going to upload a list that I love. That's it. I'm done with it. I'm just going to, people like good music. I like good music. It makes the channel more interesting. Let's use it. So I don't get strikes, but I don't get any money. So I make my living, if you can call it that, off of my Linsol's partnership agreement and just the free gear and the just enjoying this as a hobby. Okay, let's keep going. What are your views on EQ and EQing earphones? Good or heresy? I don't care at all. I really don't. Like, if somebody if somebody, when they're listening to earphones, wants to also have somebody scream in their ear, and that gives them joy, then fantastic. You go for it. I just realized I'm not trying to put down EQ by that analogy. I'm not suggesting that that's my personal take, that it's as bad as somebody shouting in your ear. No, I'm just mean to say I don't care. Personally, I don't EQ because I'm a reviewer, so I have access to so many different profiles, so many different tunings, that for me to bother EQing seems a little like much. Like if I want something with more bass, I get the IM that has more bass. If I want something with more treble, I get the one with more treble. And I think just generally, my general thoughts on EQ is that it's just not very realistic to expect the mainstream consumer to EQ with an IEM on the go. Let's think about what an IEM is, right? You plug it into a portable device. How many portable devices, especially when so many people have an iPhone now, have extensive EQ capabilities? And even if you found an app or something that can control the entire operating system to change its equalizer settings, which I don't even know if that exists on the iPhone, but even if you found an app that did that, it would be an extra set of steps for you to open it up, change the settings, turn it on, whatever it needs to be, I assume. So it's just, to me, it's like, I'd rather just get something that by its very nature sounds right. And I don't have to EQ. I don't have to have separate software EQ on my computer versus my phone versus whatever. I can always just have the sound I want with me. What if I'm plugging into a different device that I'm not used to? That doesn't happen to me. Look, if somebody wants to bother EQing, if they want to set up an EQ profile on different devices and they're okay with that and opening up the apps and doing the steps and finding out what their profiles are, all the power to you. I don't have a horse in that race. I don't see why anybody should care. It's kind of like somebody caring about like what somebody does in their own personal time in any realm in life. Why does anybody care? Why does anybody debate anyone else about whether or not you should EQ? I feel like no one should say you should not do this in music. Back when I was in a whiskey tasting club, they would have the common stereotype of whiskey tasting. There's a lot of analogies you can draw with music listening and art and wine and whiskey. I remember vividly that whiskey tasters were the opposite of snobs. They were very polite and very open to just what tasted good. Whatever tastes good, great. Very casual about it. Now, is there a way of tasting whiskey properly to see what the original flavor really tastes like? Yeah. You stick your nose in the Glencairn glass. You waft it a little bit with like very gentle breaths. You drink it neat, no ice, no water, and very little sip. You keep it in your mouth for a little bit. Maybe you inject some air, maybe you don't, and you try to get everything it's initially bringing. But that doesn't mean ice is bad. It doesn't mean water is bad. Even though that's like everybody's stereotype of the whiskey people is that they must hate ice. You're not supposed to do ice in your whiskey, especially a good one. Okay, get over yourself, people. At the whiskey clubs, they have little eyedroppers and a thing of water so you can put exactly whatever amount of water you want into the glass. It's done on purpose, one drop at a time or a squish at a time, whatever, to bring out whatever other flavors might be in the whiskey that maybe the alcohol was covering because it was too strong before. Does that sound like music to you guys? It does to me. What if the treble was too hot and you water it down? That could be EQ, okay? If somebody wants to EQ, if somebody wants to add water to their IEM, go for it. If you want to add more alcohol to it or blend it, go for it. Just enjoy yourselves. Can we all just enjoy the hobby and realize that we're all just fellow enjoyers of this stuff? Really, let's have a little joy. We don't have to stress each other. We don't have to add drama. Let this be an oasis of enjoyment, you know? Okay. Let's keep going. What do you think about Kima Classic? I don't think anything of it, let alone versus the EA500 as you were asking, because I haven't heard it. I'm looking for upgrade to my T3 Plus. I would not consider the EA500 as an upgrade. I would consider the EA500 as a lateral move. It's a different tuning. It's a different style. Does it happen to execute some way that's better than T3 Plus altogether on a certain track or genre? Perhaps. But I would own both and not think much of it. The EA500 isn't exactly expensive in the realm of this hobby, and it's a very different tuning style. It's got a brighter leaning. T3 Plus is a heftier leaning. They could complement each other pretty well, actually. I can't say anything about the Kima Classic, sorry. Are planars worth the hype? You know what? A lot of planars, I don't really like to say things I don't know things exactly about, but so I'll only say this anecdotally, okay? I do think planars that I've tried, by and large, seem to lean towards revealing more detail in the music. I could be completely making that up. It could just be a correlation, not causation. It could be that a lot of the planars just happen to be tuned with more treble, and so they reveal more detail. It may not have anything to do with the drivers, for all I know, which I don't. I don't know the physics of these things. Are planar drivers able to produce higher frequencies more reliably without breaks? Are they faster? Is that a key to producing treble better? I know electrostats are supposed to be better at treble reproduction. Is the same for planars? Is that why we're hearing more detail? Or is it just the tuning? It does seem that planars are really good, really sharp, really clear, while also providing good impact. They seem to be the best of multiple worlds, honestly. But that could just be happenstance. Again, I can't stress that enough. I don't know. Okay, I'm only just noticing that the DIOKO, the Timeless, are stellar, enjoyable, like crisp listens, you know? But then I've heard planars that are very muffled sounding, like the Eternal. I did not enjoy that very much. And yet that was an offshoot of the 7 hertz, lineup of these like round. I mean, I should double check actually what the drivers are inside. What if it's not planar and it's just the same shape and I just assumed wrongfully it's planar? I can't keep track of the drivers in every I am. I'm a normal person like you, people. Or maybe I'm not so normal. Maybe I'm below average, actually. Well, what if the secret is that even though I'm a reviewer and I have all this experience, what if I'm really not that good at it? What if, in certain respects, what if my telling of my experience is so artistic and nice and enjoyable or whatever people watch me for? But what if my recollection of like the technical aspects is really quite poor? I think it might be. Because everybody seems to be commenting in the chats everywhere like, oh, this one has this many DDs and this many BAs and this many ESs. And I'm just like, like, I know what those words stand for. I'm not sure how significant it all is supposed to be in the context of this specific situation and what the point that you're trying to make is, but it sounds logical what you're saying. I believe you. How many people in this hobby are kind of that kind of like nodding their head? Like, I understand here, I understand, but I don't know if I don't know. and how many people are like just eating everything they have up and just assuming it's right? And how much are we propagating myths in this hobby? Are we all just playing one big game of telephone with certain conceptions? I mean, hey, there was a video recently that somebody shared on my Discord that I also happened to stumble upon myself in my recommendations. About like the science of steps in the sine waves of digital, and this like idea that the steps would create like a worse sound or something when it finally plays back through the analog drivers in your ear. And this video did a very good job breaking down how like whatever stepping there might be in the digital like space in your computer as the information is being processed, by the time it reaches your ears through analog, it's all smooth, perfectly smooth, and it looks identical to the original information anyway. That the digital intermediary really didn't And yet our whole community seems to have a history of believing that there's a huge difference in quality that you can perceive in different sample rates and stuff. And but the videos seem to say it was a complete myth and hogwash. So like, does anybody know what's right in certain things? I don't know. I'm in a huge tangent now, am I? I'm just rambling. Let's keep reading the comments for more questions. Collab. Wait, what do you think AE means? Oh, Eggman, are you pointing out what I only suspected? Is AE a collaboration with somebody? And I just was like a dingus? Am I trying to make a collaboration off of a collaboration? Hey, what if that's allowed? You know what? I just assume that that's what you mean. That's what you're implying. Let me see what AE means. I'm on their website now. Let's look at this up together. No, that's the wrong window. That's not what I want. Let me change that. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so let's look at the page. Is there any information on? That's a good point. I don't have no idea what AE means. I always assumed it was just some letters just to connote some new thing, and who knew? But let's see. Let me look up collab on the page. No, the keyword collab doesn't show up. What about Crin? Because I feel like he's just like tuning everything now. No? HBB. Oh, no, that's something else. Oh, there's like a golden Z300. Honestly, that looks really good. I kind of wish I had that one. Dang. The one I have is like the blue. It says blue, but that's gold. Wait, I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't help myself. I had to get distracted a little bit. That looks so good. The blue one's not showing up for some reason. Am I pressing the wrong thing? Whatever. Okay, let's go back to the timeless. I just don't see anything that would indicate whether the IE. No, but this is the problem. Like, who knows what the deal is with collaborations when they don't say this information. Timeless AE collab. Let's Google it. This collab. Okay, who's it a collab with? Let's type in collab. Between 7 Hertz and a famous AliExpress studio product store, Angel Ears. Oh. And it says it's basically a retune of the OG with a 3 dB boost on the sub bass. I don't know if it's just that. It sounds like it's more muffled than that. Interesting though. Okay, fine. I'll retune the original timeless. Maybe they can't collab on a collab, but fine. You know what? Dang it. That actually really spoils it for me a little bit because, you know, it was actually I was sitting there with the original timeless already, just trying to retune that one, and then I had a really hard time. I could not get a good sound of that thing. I couldn't change it without seeming to butcher it. But then I tried the timeless AE, and it was much easier to adjust in the direction that I wanted to, for whatever reason. So now I'll have to go back to the drawing board. Dang it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the timeless, and I'll try to imitate what I was doing, but with the original. Okay, let's keep reading. Just brought the S12 Pro after listening to your demo. Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Not exactly audio related, but I saw Hayao Miyazaki poster. Do you enjoy his movies? I really do. I was gonna start putting like a poster. You guys can see it in the camera here. I'm actually not pointing to it at all. I'm pointing to like the wall, but from your perspective, it looks like I'm pointing directly to it. This is me pointing to it. I really like Spirited Away, especially. Totoro, I really like. I watched like the whole collection essentially, and most of them I don't like love, but I'm thinking of like featuring something on the wall more, featuring the back wall a little bit more to show my interest in things. Maybe even installing like a shelf to show like featured IEMs behind my head, like my favorites of all time. Maybe putting some shelves in the in-between spaces of the sound panels. Maybe like shelf, and have like IEMs just like sitting on each one. I think that would be pretty cool. But I kind of like it clean too. I can't decide. I'm very torn. Okay, let's keep going. Would you please give me some quick thoughts on the Red? I like the Red. I did actually listen to the Crin collaboration with Truth here, the Zero Red. I did listen to it recently, and I do much prefer it over the blue one, the original Zero. I thought the original Zero was just low detail retrieval, kind of low perception of detail. I just couldn't get into it at all. If I wanted something that was more muffled sounding, more warm, I would have gone for an HBB collab, which he does stunning work on warm sounding sets. I mean, listen to any of the demos, listen to my reviews on it, look at my ranking list. I've had high regard for his style. It's not necessarily my style initially, but I've grown to appreciate a well-tuned warm. And I don't think Crinacle does well-tuned warm yet. At least not with the original Zero. But his Red was an improvement on it. I don't know if the Red is my like top pick at that budget range compared to other things. I still very much like my T3 Plus, and I very much like his original Salnotes Zero from 7 Hertz at $20 if I wanted to go super cheap for recommending people. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like there's just so much coming out all the time that it's just so hard to keep up with and share my deep, honest opinion. I could give very brief opinions from like just popping something in my ear and just casting judgment, but I feel like I have to be careful with that. Reviewers have a certain influential ability, impact on the community, and I really just take that to heart. I don't produce reviews at a breakneck speed. I don't want to rush my opinions out there. Opinions change with time. My opinions have changed. My tastes have changed somewhat with time. My appreciation for an IEM or another have changed one way or in direction or another over time. Some things I've loved and then slowly less appreciation with them over time. Some things I really didn't like that much, but then I started to like go, I can kind of hear something appreciable. So I don't like to rush an opinion out. The first impressions can be very, very strong negative or strong positive, and one has to be careful about sharing their opinion on first impressions. Okay, let's keep going. Silvio super chatted. Thank you for the $2, sir. Guys, I really appreciate whether or not you have money to super chat and give me money here or give me money at all on Patreon. All of it is super appreciated. But even if you don't have enough money to do any kind of direct giving to me whatsoever, and I totally get that, if you do want to support my channel, the best way you can do it, and wait, let me share this with you. The literal best way you can help my channel and my relationship with my sponsor is, and I'll get to your super chat question in a second, Silvio. Be right with you. Is using my general default like affiliate link here. I'll put it in the chat. If you take here, it's at the bottom of the chat if you guys want to check it out. Oh, it does this silly thing. Okay, if you press that, it's only going to take you to Linsole. That's not actually my link. There's a forward slash. I don't know why it does this, but their like link creation is missing a forward slash. It always does this. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can delete that chat. That's not a good message. Hold on. There we go. This one should be correct. So the single biggest way to help my channel and to help me like persist in this community as a reviewer and grow is to use that link when you go shopping. So like, let's say you want something, but I haven't reviewed it, but you still want to support me. Like you want to buy some product on Linsole's website. A portion of that will go to me. That's an affiliate link there. And that it just really helps me. It helps me financially, and I think it helps me professionally keep my strong relationship with Linsole strong. I think they like seeing the referrals, I think. But anyway, I would just highly appreciate it if you bookmark that as like, if you bookmark Linsole, if you use that as your bookmark for Linsole, it goes a long way for me. You don't have to. You can just buy things per reviewer, on a review to review basis. I totally appreciate and respect that, but That's a direct way to help me, is just using that link when you shop. Anyway, let me keep reading questions. I don't want to make this whole thing about me, and my affiliate whatever stuff. This list is fine, not just deleted, just looked. Hi, you're the reason I have unique Melody MEST as my final goal in the hobby, says Carl. Thank you, Carl. That's very appreciated. Oh, I had to go to the super chat. Silvio just chatted. I forgot. Sorry, Silvio. Keep up the good work. Thoughts on 64 audio U12T. 64 audio is like this. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm so hot in this. Hold on. This room just gets warm the longer I'm in it every time. I love starting with a jacket or a sweater, and then I just get so warm, so toasty. Okay. 64 Audio is this company that I've long really wished I had products to try. I've always heard good things in the forums. They look nice. They seem promising, very promising, but they just don't sell products on Linsoul's website. So given that my lifeblood is inventory from Linsoul's storefront, I really have a hard time affording anything else on my own, from my own budget. It's very difficult for me to justify doing anything from 64 Audio. I've contacted them. I've sent them emails, actually, saying, like, hey, I'm Dan's Audio Reviews. Here's a link to my channel. Would you please consider, sending me something? I've heard good things, blah, 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 blah. And they just never answered. Like, not even as a professional courtesy. They didn't even reply saying, like, oh, not at this time. We're sorry. We don't give samples as such. They didn't say anything. And I'm just like, if I send any email to somebody in my workplace, like in a different school that I don't work at, a principal, or anyone, a parent, whatever, everyone will respond to you. It's like professional courtesy. In the work world, when you send an email to somebody, they email back. When it's a business related thing, it's respectful to. So I'm just kind of like, who doesn't respond to business emails like this? I don't know. Maybe they get it a lot and they're just like, no. Or maybe people could be afraid of my channel. I sometimes actually wonder that my demos might be making certain companies afraid. Because what if they have already such good brand image, and what if a demo ruins it? It could be a huge risk in their eyes. I wonder. And I totally understand that. If I was in their shoes thinking about the potential risk of a reviewer who could mess things up or shine a bad light on them because of a demo that was recorded in my eyes improperly or something, or didn't show the product in the best light, because of human error or whatever, or because the recording rig wasn't that good, or because people's playback devices don't really show what the original thing has in store, whatever, I get it. I do respect them ultimately if they think it's just too risky for them, if that's the reason. But if they're just not responding because they're, I don't know, just snobbish about people trying to reach out to them, that would be unprofessional and unfortunate. But I don't think that's it. I bet you they've seen it and they're just too much risk. Have you ever tried the Elysian Diva? No, I have not. If yes, how does it compare? I can't say. Sorry. Wow, the whiskey and EQ analogy is a really great, easy to understand explanation. Thank you, Matthew. And also, this is now dating this conversation because that was a while ago. This always happens. This always happens. I'm never on pace with the chat. Okay, let me speed fire down a little bit. Or do I need to speed down? Maybe there isn't that much to load down there, actually. That's my experience with Hi-Fi Man. Planars move faster, so yes. Eternal is DD. Blah, 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 blah. Don't know if this has been asked, but here goes. 1. What is the method of your IEM recording in recent videos? My method is quite simple these days. It was more involved before. My method is I'm doing Canara next, Canara Nana. So I've got it set up for the next recording session. I just plug it into the coupler. I plug the other one into the other coupler. I do some stuff in software just to make sure it's using the right machinery or whatnot. I EQ. I don't EQ. What was I going to say? I volume match is what I meant to say. The two channels, and I press record in Logic Pro, which is my recording software. Then I take the file, I import it into Final Cut, which is my editing software, and I do my editing. But, you know, one of these days I've got to reveal what I've done in my previous recording rig. The old standard dummy head. I still keep them on the table, but now it's just like my PlayStation headphone holders. I don't even use the headphones for the PlayStation, like at all yet. I actually got them so I could play privately, connect easily to my PlayStation while my wife would be out and about. But anyway, whatever. That's a different story. So the dummy head, I had these little microphones. You know what? I'm going to reveal it right now. Why not? I don't use them anymore. And why would anybody bother with it? They cost more than the couplers I use now. They were $600 mics. Okay? It was a big investment, especially when I first started the channel, but I was like going all in. I was like, if I'm going to make this channel, I'm going to make it sound good. And back when I first started the channel, I had no idea. I had no idea of anything. I just went with the recommendation from an old friend, because he's a musician and he recommended certain music recording mics. But this is the mic I used to use. I'm going to tell you right now what it was. People, I haven't never shared this. It was like my trade secret forever. I did not lose them, did I? No, I just, as a normal human being should, I organized it. It was just tucked away. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so the clip fell off. Okay. So it's actually, I'll give you the exact number and everything. I used to use this. It's cably managed right now with this little strip, but this is the microphone. Right? Wait, did the filter fall off? No, it's right there. It's still there. So I used. It's not terribly in focus. Sorry about that. Maybe if I hold it up against my hand. Just that. It's a lavalier mic. This was what I used for my channel forever. And I stuck this in the up the neck of the dummy head, out through the ear. And then this is something I'm really proud of, actually. And I'm really happy that I can finally share this with people. I've been hiding this for so long because, again, it was like a trade secret of mine. But I'm finally ready to reveal what I used to do. Because I'm not doing this anymore anyway. I'm doing the couplers, and they're better. So I don't care if somebody knows this. They can imitate it if they want. It won't be as good as my recent stuff. So here is what I did. I thought this was super clever back then. Let's see if I can show you this while also holding this dang thing. So I actually took a piece, just a foam tip, okay? And I put it, first I took off the cap because this protective mesh was too thick for this thing to fit over. I put the tip on. It was a whole process, okay? And then I can put the mesh protector back on. And then this was important. I would push. See how that's sticking? That's kind of sticking out too far. I would push this ever so I wasn't blocking any of the mesh openings from sound, but just enough where the mesh screen where the microphone is underneath, the capsule is underneath. So it was basically all protected and sealed inside the ear. So what it would look like is that this thing would be sticking out of an ear, okay? Not outside of the ear, but like it would be in the canal, and you'd like look in the canal and you'd see this thing. And then I would take the same kind of foam tip from Campfire Audio, Marshmallow tips. I take another one of these tips. I place it on the IEM. I just thought it was good to be consistent with the foam material for some reason. And so you have to imagine there's an IEM that this tip is on top, that this is attached to, okay? So I take the IEM, and this is the dummy head, and this is like inside the ear canal, okay? So I took the IEM and I put it right there, and I would do it so that while they were both inside the canal, they would do this. can't line these up when I'm looking at the camera. That was it. I would do it so that the microphone would be embedded inside this little foam channel I created. And that would seal it with the additional seal of the silicone around this in the dummy. It would form a fairly good seal of bass compared to other things I had tried. And it took trial and error. It took like different, like the technique also of like, I stuck my hand inside the neck of the dummy head and like had to like hold the mic still so it wouldn't move around and become misaligned or be pushed into the head. So it was a kind of a process. It was more particular. It was more finicky. If I pushed too hard one way or the other, the mic would go in the head. I'd have to reset it. Each ear would be ever so slightly different with the insertion, and so my technique had to be consistent. And I had to I looked at the meters as I was pushing in the ears, and every single recording was like a finicky, careful setup. And eyeing the meters, making sure the left and right channels were truly matched despite the potential for inconsistencies. It's a miracle much of anything happened in my channel the way I was doing it. And I didn't want to reveal my whole thing. I didn't want to reveal the mics. I didn't want to reveal my technique. None of it. The foam tip insertion stuff, none of it. Oh, and the microphone, by the way, is what's called a DPA 4060 core. I'll even link to the website. I'll show you guys exactly what I was using for people who are so curious. DPA 4060 core. I think B&H is where I got it too, by the way. Let me show you the exact link. It's basically marketed for music recording. Okay. Here. I think it's it's 500 now? Oh, I guess so. Okay, hold on. Let me get this in the chat. This is what I used to use. If anybody wanted to know, that's exactly what I used to use. It might be a different listing. There might be some differences between it or something and what I have I don't know, but it's the same model, I think. Anyway, let's carry on for a second. Let's keep reading the chat. Okay. Oh, I forgot my clip. All right. Hey, from San Antonio, I'm late. Oh, hi. Okay, let's keep reading. People are asking about the PR2. Yeah, I've heard about the PR2. I haven't really, I don't know anything about it in terms of its sound signature. I don't know any of that. But people have been recommending PR2, and but then I saw something about HBB having a problem with their production of it, like that KZ somehow like changed the tuning without like letting people know or something. Something like 600 or 6,000 units in. I saw some number like that. So like apparently people who bought it late got a different tuning than what he promised with his graphs and what people first got, and it was worse or something maybe. It doesn't sound like something I want to get my hands on right now while that kind of mess is happening, to be honest. I don't want to get involved with something that's quality control issues and inconsistent and just sounds ugh. They didn't send because you have to try it yourself. Making a recording and everyone to use different earphones, headphones to listen to is not true representation. They don't believe in that. Yeah, they probably don't believe in that. A lot of people don't believe in that. You know, like Crinacle has one of the best new rigs for taking measurements, and I'm sure it would produce a very good sound, you know. I'm using the couplers he used to use for his measurement database, and they sound pretty good, you know. But there's a stigma against it. I think the stigma is undeserved, to be very honest. I think a lot of people are realizing just by listening to these demos, they're not so far off that you can just dismiss them. At a certain point, you're just like, I can hear the main character. Okay, I get the point. And I even did this thing where I put, like, for example, I put the Salnotes Zero in my ear as my playback device on one of my videos. I think I was playing back the T3 Plus, actually. So I was listening to the demo of the T3 Plus with my Salnotes Zero. And I was like, I think this sounds like the T3 Plus. And then I put the T3 Plus in my other ear, okay, and had the T3 Plus connected to like my iPhone or something like that. So it was, so I was going to, and I pressed spacebar on my computer on my demo, and then I pressed play button pause on my iPhone, so that like both things, the Salnotes Zero listening to the T3 Plus demo on my computer, and the T3 Plus in my other ear listening to an authentic playback off of my phone just from Apple Music. And I was basically able to determine like how close do I personally feel the T3 Plus sound demo sounded off the Salnotes Zero compared to the real thing. And it sounded pretty good. But some people will chat in a comment on a video saying something like, I listened to your IEMX using IEMX in my ears, and it did not sound like it. And I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, because you like, if there's a treble spike in that earphone in the demo, and then you hear the same treble spike on the hardware in your ear, it's basically like adding together. All the really strong characteristics of an IEM that show through the recording are only going to basically be added on top of if you're listening to the same set in your ears, listening to the demo. I do not recommend listening to the demos with the same gear that the demo is portraying, generally speaking. I had really good luck, though, with the Salnotes Zero as a demo listening gear. And it probably would have even sounded better if I compensated for the rig's eccentricities, you know, if I EQ'd down the spikes in the rig or something like that, or targeted the Salnotes Zero as the playback device for everybody to use, it would have sounded even closer. But it was good to know that even by default, even without any EQ or compensations or any special anything, if you listen to my demos with the Salnotes Zero right now, at least, and there's probably other sets too that sound pretty good too, but the Salnotes Zero was pretty reliable at reproducing the real authentic experience, at least of the T3 Plus. I didn't do an extensive listen. I didn't listen to every other demo out there and see if the Salnotes Zero sounded good on all of them. I'm sure there's some kind of bad additive effect of the Salnotes Zero's character with something else that has similar character as the Zero. Maybe there will be something that's too bright or too whatever. These kinds of things are probably inescapable. Okay, people are probably right to think that playing the demos at home through your playback device is not perfect and it does not represent real life. That's probably true, to some degree or another, depending on the demo and depending on the device you're listening to. But by and large, there is an essential character that does seem to show through, and I've seen a lot of positive feedback on that. Okay, let's keep going. And yeah, it is about the relative comparisons, as PNTM is noting. Okay, why? Frederick says, why some IEM have good resolution in soundstage? What are the factors that affect this? That's an excellent question. I don't want to speak too boldly. Again, I don't like to say things that I don't know very confidently, but generally speaking, if you mess around in the treble area, you're going to be messing around with perceived resolution in a lot of ways, and with certain instruments, particularly with certain harmonics that come off of certain people's voices that you feel like you need to hear for it to sound like it's airy, to sound like it's clear completely, to feel like you're getting the details. Maybe it's just a trick of the brain. Whatever it is, if you pump up the treble in certain regions, I started to notice this effect particularly after maybe 3,000 hertz. But specific regions, I can't tell you off the bat. I think it might also depend on the IEM. And also 9,000 to 10,000 hertz, somewhere in that range seems to be good. 6,000 hertz seems to be good. I just remember tuning these specific ranges and having success in this this effect of increasing clarity and increasing detail, perceived detail. I've heard it firsthand, so I can at least say with some confidence that if you up the treble, generally speaking, you will get an increase in perceived detail, in perceived clarity in air, resolution, perhaps. Because if you think you're hearing more separation or more detail, it has that effect of making you feel like you're getting more resolution or something. But it could also be the drivers, for all I know. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it maybe could be. Everybody talks about drivers all the time like they're important for resolution. Maybe in either, I don't know if it's a direct relevance, like maybe the planar magnetics are faster or something, supposedly, so maybe they can literally just produce more varieties of frequencies at once because they're just able to return to like the normal in the middle to produce the next vibration. Like, you have to be fast to do that. If you're moving like quicksand or something, like mud, how can you produce a frequency like this and then also produce something slower if you can't return fast enough to start that new sound or something like that, But these drivers move at thousands upon thousands upon thousands of vibrations for every second. I mean, like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, what's a hertz? It's insane. And I don't know. I don't know if the faster drivers have a audible difference on that resolution. I don't know if that's a limiting factor in resolution or not, but I feel like maybe it is. Maybe the driver type does matter there. I don't know. Oh, excuse me. Oh, okay. All right. Hi, Dan. I bought the T3 Plus. Oh, is something still in my wrong pipe or something? Okay. Hi, Dan. Hi, Caleb. I bought the T3 Plus, first IEM ever, and it sounds muddy, lacking details. A bit better than Samsung freebies. Wow. This guy digs deep. He knows that this is like one of my top recommended IEMs to start the hobby, and he's just like, it sounds muddy, man. We share a very similar library. What should I do? Can IEMs have faulty drivers or tuning? I doubt it's faulty. It's always possible you inserted. I don't know if this is actually responsible. It's probably just that you're not used to that tuning and you're used to something else of a completely different flavor that's much brighter. That's probably just what it is. It's that you're probably coming from something that you're used to having a certain amount of treble or a certain lack of bass where the T3 Plus has it, and the T3 Plus, just from where your headspace has been, feels muddy to you. This happens all the time. I feel like it happens to everybody because it happens to me all the time. I come from something after listening to it a while, and then I try something else, and I notice what I'm missing from my previous IEM that I liked. It could be that you just don't like the sound. It could be that you need to listen to it longer before you can form a full opinion, or it could just be that you don't like the sound, plain and simple. If I'm hearing that you think the T3 Plus sounds muddy, assuming it's not a production issue or something like that, then I would probably venture to guess that you would like something brighter, something with less bass. That's just my 2 cents. So Salnotes Zero, even though it's only $20, is brighter. It's leaner. You might really, really like it. And for only $20, it's an easy thing to like just try, The EA500 from SimGot is also pretty good for that kind of thing. It's probably the good middle ground between too lean and too thick that you might be looking for. So heavily consider the EA500. Of course, you can check out the demos to see in more detail, whether or not you think it's going to align with your tastes. But otherwise, hey, check out all the demos that I've been uploading. See if there's anything in your budget that or that you've been hearing about. If I have a recording of it, and see for yourself to a degree, what you think. Barely With It says, been loving the new series. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really trying to be like the biggest sound demo repository on YouTube. I'm trying to be the source of IEM demos. And if I can set up a proper rig for headphone recording, that sounds just as comparably like respectful to the original sound as these couplers seem to be doing for IEMs, then I would love to do that for headphones as well. But I'm still going to do reviews. You know, I'm still going to have commentary-filled videos. It's just more this summer. More this summer once school is out. Zareth says, what are the best open-style wired earbuds? Well, there's not many, to be honest. There's not, like, compared to the crowd of IEMs out there, there's not many. There was a recent one released by Raptgo called the Raptgo... Gosh, I can't even remember its name. They sent me a sample of it. It has a beautiful case. I'm actually going to... It's one of the IEMs that I'm hoping to try to tune and find, like, a way to make it sound something that I like. I currently don't like it much at all, to be honest. Like, at all. And they came with, like, 3 different nozzles. Somebody's going to know what I'm talking about. I'll check... Let's check out Linsol really quick. Linsol. I keep pronouncing it Linsol. Old habit. I said Linsol for ages, and somebody corrected me, and I was like, oh, it's Sol? They never told me I was wrong saying it the way I did. So let's go to Raptgo. Let's see what shows up on Linsol. I mean, 0 results. I think everything's just, like, not loading really fast. Oh, okay. It's the one called Raptgo Bridge. That one is very clearly open in the back, unless that's just a cosmetic thing. But no, when I played it, I'm pretty sure it was leaking pretty hard. And it looks like Raptgo in general does open back styles. Actually, like this Leaf thing has a little bit of openings. Their Hook X's both had openings. And those are pretty strong recommendations. Those Hook X's, even though it says sold out now, if you can find them on Amazon or something like that, those were pretty much hits with people. I'm actually really surprised they're not selling it anymore. That's a real letdown, actually. Those were good products. Maybe they weren't selling enough or something. I don't know. That's weird. But I would recommend, if you want something open that I'm familiar with anyway, those would be good ones to get. But there's not many, so let's keep looking. They took out dampening materials and changed some parts, etc. when they changed the sound signature. Okay, so with the timeless, if they took out materials, if the materials are different, well, isn't that how they tune anything in a shell? It's not like they have EQs computer programmed in them, right? They have to take out materials or add to them. So if I can tune the original timeless a certain way that sounds good, they'll figure out how to change the thing to make it sound like my software made it sound, I guess. Have you had a chance to listen to the IE900? Nope. I was curious to know your opinion on them. Sorry. Sennheiser is one of those brands, like, if I want... I really respect Sennheiser. Some of my favorite headphones are Sennheiser, particularly the HD800S. But when it comes to IEMs and headphones in general from them, these days, I don't spend a lot on them. It's all out of pocket for me to get Sennheiser. I don't have any special connections with them to get their products. So I've tried the IE600, the IE200, but I haven't tried anything else from them in terms of IEMs. I use an open back pair of Audio-Technicas, most neutral. Has there been any copyright strikes? No strikes. I have no strikes on my channel. Do you remember OH10? Yeah, certainly. It's still on my one of my top recommendations. Do you have high hopes on the upcoming OH10S? I do. And I've been meaning to reach out to Hi-Fi Go to ask them for a sample of it if they're willing to. Because I really want to try it. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, should I buy Truth-Ear? Hitanshu says, should I buy Truth-Ear Hola or 7Hz Salnotes? Your opinion. Well, there's 2 7Hz Salnotes. There's 7Hz Salnotes Zero and there's 7Hz Salnotes DIOKO. Both are collaborations from Crinacle. That's a tough one. I think some people are going to prefer Hola and some people are going to prefer, assuming you're talking about the Salnotes Zero, I think some people are going to maybe prefer the Salnotes Zero. I'm probably of the camp to prefer the Salnotes Zero, but truth be told, I have to do a very careful back and forth between the two to be sure of it. Oh, do I still have this thing on my screen? Whoops. Okay, there we go. All right, keep going. Alexander says, I recently discovered your channel, and I really thank you for all the work. Do you plan to do the same with TWS True Wireless. I've tried in the past to record wireless earphones on my dummy head, but they always came out sounding really weird for some reason. And I think that's because they have sensors or something like that, like at least in the case of AirPod Pros, which is one of the key ones that I was trying to share my experience of, they sounded very different to me than in my real life ears. Like to the point where like I was like, I can't show this. I feel like something's messed up here. Like it's automatically EQing based on the silicone ears that it's plugged into or something like that. Like it's meant to be in a human's ears maybe or something. There was just something wonky about it. I can't put a finger on it. But and a lot of the people in the hobby don't really dig the wireless stuff, and there's not a lot of wireless options that Linsol offers. A lot of it's on Amazon and these funky random companies that I don't have any relationship with, and maybe some of them I don't want to work with. So I don't have any current plans for the wireless stuff, but it had been in the back of my mind. It always was. So are headphones. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm still trying to like become a more of a staple in the IEM community for wired gear. Okay. Mark says $250 is top of my budget. Your suggestions? Well, I mean, truthfully, you just check my ranking list and look at whatever I say is my highest, like my most preferred set. That's the one you should get. And if it's above your budget, then look lower on the list until you hit your budget. That's basically it. But off the top of my head, I would say the Timeless or the Timeless AE. If you're going to if you want to burn $250 for sure, but you can get this very similar value from the $100 DIOKO. I'm looking around. I actually might say the Sennheiser IE200. Maybe that's too safe of a choice. Maybe some people wouldn't like being recommended a safe choice because they want something that pops, something that's exciting or something. But the IE200 is really easy to listen to at any mood, and you feel like you're still getting your music. And I might recommend that. I have this thing for it. I don't know why. I just do. Yeah. But check my ranking list, honestly, and see what the notes might say. Listen to the demos. See what you like based on the demos. You know what I mean? This is Rick says, T3 Plus was also my first. Thanks, Dan, and I'm loving it. Not muddy at all. I listen to classical music, and it's sublime. Thank you so much, Rick. Thank you for the trust. I really do think the T3 Plus, I try to make this point more strongly in my ranking list and in my videos somewhat, but I don't know if people totally get this from me in all the ways that they consume my content, but I really do think the T3 Plus is like an all-star as a start in the hobby. I really, if somebody said like, I don't know IEMs, what's one IEM you think I should start with without like breaking the bank? And I would be like, start with the T3 Plus. It's just, even though it's $70, which is more than like the ultra budget stuff, it's still like relatively affordable compared to a lot of the stuff out there, and it's a solid start to the hobby. It's not too bright, it's not too muddy, it's this nice heft while also having enough detail to appreciate things from like an audiophile level. The T3 Plus is really my ultimate first buy in the hobby. I'm thinking of getting myself a Wanner because of the hype on it and its new color green jade because it's gorgeous. Is it a safe pick to listen to, EDM, or would you still recommend Zero? I haven't listened to the Wanner, however you say it, very much recently. It's been kind of like sitting on my shelf, but I'm going to be recording it soon if I haven't already and uploading a demo. So I would totally stay tuned for the demo. It's going to be coming within the week for sure. It's on like it's one of my top like next things to make sure I get out there. like on my desk right now, I have like rows of things organized by priority. This is first, this row is first, then it's this row, then it's this row next to it. All the other things on my shelf, everything on top has already been recorded. If it's not in a demo yet, it will be soon. Okay, let's keep going. Hitanshu says, please tell me the name of the song Low Male Voice. Yeah, I couldn't name the songs because of copyright stuff. It would have blocked my video. But that one is by Royksop. It's called, you know, my memory is my worst skill. It's called, I'm looking at my own playlist to see what it was. It's called Sorry, of course. It's called Sorry, featuring Jamie Irrepressible. So let me see if I can find you a link right now. Just do a favor here. I'll do a YouTube search for you. Although my internet's kind of slow with the stream going, so bear with me for a moment. Okay, that's taking too long. I'm just gonna link you to Apple Music. I also, just so you know, I do have my playlists linked in the description of every video. It is only Apple Music, so that could be a reason why you might not be seeing it, but I'm pretty sure the lists open up into your internet browser, and it's like Apple's website, and they show you, but there it is anyway. There's the playlist. See if it works, see if it shows up. It's the same number track down the list as it is in the video. It's track number 4. Yeah. Okay, let me keep reading. Barely says, yeah, they are purple and look amazing. Mohammed asks, BTR5 or BTR7, which is better? I can't tell you. I tried BTR5 once. I never tried BTR7. BTR5 from FIO, however you say it, I had in a rotation of other portables that I was trying out at the time because I was into this idea, like a lot of people getting into IEMs, that you need additional power or something. And for some things you do, but I never really liked what many of the wireless DAC amp portables really did to the sound. Every time I've tried one, they've done something to alter the tuning of what you actually get. So unless I find something that's super clean and doesn't alter anything and doesn't butcher the sound quality, I can't recommend a wireless amp DAC at this time. I would probably have to explore more on-wire amp DACs in the future, because I'm guessing they probably have more promise. But of a couple that I've tried, some cheap small ones, I don't like them much. My favorite is still just the Apple dongle for $9, and you get this thing that's basically very clean. It doesn't alter the sound, really. Okay, let's keep going. Between the Monarch II or MEST MKII, which do you prefer, including comfort? Huh. Well, I personally prefer the MEST MKII. I prefer the tonal qualities. I prefer its presentation. In terms of the fit and comfort, the MEST MKII is a very traditional feel. They really went safer with that one. The original MEST had this very chunky and like long-looking thing, and it didn't really have a fit that fit many people's ears sometimes, you know. But the Monarch Mark II is really thick and chunky. The Monarch Mark II may not fit in your ears comfortably, and that's the one caveat about it. Everything from T audio, Thea audio, however you say it, is chunky. And so it's really going to be a hit or miss depending on your ear size and shape, whether or not a T audio product in general is going to fit your ear comfortably. So in terms of comfort and sound, I prefer the MEST Mark II. But opinions sway with time, so I might come to appreciate something about the Monarch Mark II more, but as it currently stands, I prefer the MEST. At one point, I thought that the Monarch Mark II was going to be a good companion to the Mest, and I was starting to recommend that to people as like buy both. But then I listened to the FATfreq Maestro SE, and that one just completely replaced the Monarch Mark II for me as a companion IEM to have alongside the Mest Mark II. The FATfreq Maestro SE is like the king of thick sound while also maintaining enough treble energy and mids to give you clarity of everything else. So I really don't like. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked. I had a whole thought bubble, but I'm not going to pursue that. Okay, let's keep reading. Out of both 7Hz Zero and Truth Ear Hola, which has better sound staging and separation? Oh, man. I don't know. The Hola, I have not heard enough to give you a precise answer to that, okay? I will say that the Salnotes Zero has a long time been something that I've enjoyed listening to, and I've highly recommended for $20. That's as much as I can say regarding any of that discussion. I will say that I remember listening to the Hola and the Hexa before having them in a review, and I wasn't exactly blown away from them. I can understand where people would be impressed. I can understand where people would appreciate them maybe more than what I appreciate in the Salnotes Zero or my other top picks in my history of this hobby. But I don't see anything so overwhelmingly special about them that I would be like, oh my goodness, of course they're better. Of course they're better than the Salnotes Zero, and you should get them instead. It's in a territory of like, you know what? Enjoy what you want. It doesn't matter much. I think people get super, super hyped over certain budget products that don't always, in my opinion, after listening to a lot of different things, certain budget picks do not stand out that gloriously above the crowd as much as maybe the community commentary might sometimes suggest. I think we sometimes have to be a little cautious around hyping in the community because people are coming from so many different perspectives, so many different tastes and everything, and it's and some people just don't have the same amount of experience or other gear, or even if they do have a lot of experience in gear that they're coming from, they might just have a very different taste where maybe the Hola really was hype worthy for them. But almost anything is going to have somebody who goes, wow, the sound of this one is really barking up my tree. Like, this is for me and I love it and it should be hyped. Is anyone else hearing what I'm hearing? And then like other people try it and they're like, eh. So the Hola and the Hexa and even the Salnotes Zero really are not like, for me, head and shoulders above what is possible, like objectively, period, in other stuff. For me, the more and more I get in this hobby and have been reviewing, the more and more I really start to see these like bottles of whiskey in a cabinet. Like, there's some that I definitely think taste better to me for my personal tastes, and they're and are likely going to be more appealing to the average person also. But there are some things that I might really like that others don't. There are things that are like average for everyone. You really just it's just a mixed bag. This whole hobby is such a mixed bag, and you just do your best to get as many different opinions as possible, hopefully by people who have similar tastes, you think, as yourself, and you just go with it. You buy something hoping, and you see for yourself. And that's where hopefully my demos can help prevent some of the buyer's remorse and knee-jerk buying in reaction to what the community is saying. Now you can listen to the demos and have a much better understanding of how likely you might like that set. And even then, it's not 100%. You might like a set more than you like it in my demo. So I'm just doing whatever I can to help the process, but I'm not guaranteeing it, in any case. Let's keep going. Mohammed says, you are a hardworking, great person. It's very kind of you to say that. Any time somebody gives me a compliment of any kind, as it is with anybody, it's incredibly a positive thing to hear, and it's heartwarming, it's flattering, and it's fuel for me to keep going with this kind of stuff. To know that it's appreciated by people is ultimately what would keep it going. I couldn't imagine doing this with no appreciation showing up from the community. Even if I was paid to do it, like, just paid to like market something and shill, and even if I got a low view count but somebody paid me to do it anyway, that would be so much less fulfilling than people liking my channel and getting paid. I mean, look, it's work. It is work. And people who are against this idea of getting money for it, I feel like are overly idealistic. Either the person is under the age in which they themselves have earned money and appreciated it, and how much work is really should be worth financially to a person who works hard, or there's somebody who is older who does make money on it, who does have a job, and who's just very idealistic, and who just assumes that a reviewer should be impartial completely and never get an ounce of anything and just review. But you know what? Do people think that like a food critic who works for a magazine doesn't get paid? Like, I mean, people get paid who do that kind of thing professionally. It's so, and and maybe it's easier for some people to say, I don't want to throw anybody under a bus. I don't want to make anybody seem like a bad person. I really do think that other reviewers are trying their best as well. Okay. But I have heard from certain reviewers that having affiliate links is bad, that it's somehow disingenuous, and it has the potential to be. Obviously I get how there could be a conflict of interest and all that stuff, But the people I've noticed, the people who might say using an affiliate link is bad might be people who are also making money elsewhere as a reviewer, okay? I don't make much money elsewhere. I don't have any collaborations. And the thing is, like, even if I did, would it still be so bad to use affiliate links? I mean, it's a source of income for a lot of work. I post the videos without any commentary, so there's no bias. It's just a demo. So please use the link. It pays for the work I did to make the demo. Please. But I still feel like a lot of people say like, Dan, I got this thing because of you, and blah, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I go to my referral, like my commissions tab in my affiliate account page, and I can see statistics. I can see like how many people bought that day or that week, and I'll be like, oh, that I must see it somewhere, and I don't see anything, and I'm like, okay. So I think the person like appreciated my commentary enough to buy on my opinions or my demos, but then they didn't use the link. And so what here's what the truth is. If you buy any product from like Linsole, like you spend $200, you're basically just giving Linsole $200, right? An affiliate link just means that some of that same $200 doesn't just go to the people who own Linsole. Some of it goes to the reviewer who helped you. I don't think that's so bad. I think that's a good thing. I think we should encourage that and just have more open and honest dialogues, either in live streams or I don't know how to tackle the problem. I don't know if there is a perfect solution for bias, okay? But I know this is a lot of work. That's all I know. And I know at least for me, I'm trying my best to be honest through this whole process. I've been doing this for a couple of years now on this channel, and I'm a full-time teacher. It's not a lucrative thing, this review business. Not yet for me anyway. I hope it becomes lucrative. And the affiliate links plus the sponsorship agreement, as minimal as it is, really do help me keep going. So I'm going to keep using affiliate links. I don't really care if other people are going to assume the worst. I know me, and I know I'm not doing my worst. I trust myself. I'm sorry if people lose trust in me because I use affiliate links. I try my best to convey my honest self, but not everybody's going to trust that, and I also respect if you don't. You're allowed to be skeptical, okay? You like what I say, don't use my links, fine, I get it. I used to not use people's links either, out of principle. Some ill-conceived notion of principle, but these days I only use affiliate links. If somebody makes a video content, it's really changed my perspective on it. If anybody makes content on YouTube that has led to me making a purchasing decision, I use their links, period, because they helped me. even if I think that they could have been biased, especially if when the product actually arrives, I enjoy it, it really makes me realize, wow, they were actually very helpful. Anyway, I'm going to keep reading. I don't like to, I think I lose people when I start talking about affiliations and all this stuff. I'm going to keep reading the questions. And then we're probably going to close this out relatively soon. We'll see how the night goes. Okay, let's keep reading. Insanity asks, is the build quality of the Blon X HBB Z300 better than some of the $50 plus IEMs? It's interesting that you say that. Everybody's talking about the build quality of it. And I, too, know what I think people are talking about. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. It's on my shelf here. I'll bring it out in just a second. Oh, sorry. If I was a blonde, where would I be? Ah. There we go. I think this is it. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, these things have a really good, feel to them. I think because they basically just, it seems like they made it out of metal. It feels like it's metal. And it has a heft. It has a weight. And anything that's made out of metal is going to feel better, generally speaking. It just always feels like it's more quality. I'm not saying it does have more quality. It could break for all we know. It could be that usually what breaks in any IM is not the IM. It has not, usually everything inside the IM is pretty robust and pretty safe for whatever length of time you own the thing. In my experience anyway, my limited experience compared to some people. Usually what breaks in an IM that I've noticed anyway is the cabling or the connection between the IM and the cable. Or the cable starts to unwind or something like that. So, I feel like if you have an IM that just feels nice in the hand and feels nice in the ear, and it has a weight that makes you feel good about yourself, that's nice. It's a cosmetic thing, but it's nice. And it does feel nice. The Z300 feels like it costs more money. And that's simply because it's made out of metal probably, and it's heavier and harder, but it does the trick. It feels nice. It feels nice and expensive. Stuff it in the bag. These little pouches. I don't know how to feel about these pouches. I either love them for their concise and modest nature that you can just throw in a bag and you feel fine, or I don't like them at all because it makes me very nervous, like something's gonna break. I can't decide which side of that I'm on. If I ever collaborated on an IEM, I can't decide if I would prefer a bag or a hard shell case. I'm kind of leaning towards a hard shell case, but something that's very small. Maybe something in the middle ground, like a Dunu. They have these leather thick kind of things. They're not exactly hard, but they're not exactly soft either. Anyway, let's keep going. Oh, somebody super chatted. 1,000, is that yen? Japanese yen? Chinese yen? I don't know the symbols very well. Well, in any case, thank you for the super chat. Thank you thing. Very, very much appreciated. It says, many thanks for all your... This is from Vincent Magus. Thank you. Many thanks for all your hard work. Your commentary is always helpful and discovered some music thanks to your videos too. Thank you. I genuinely, whether it's a financial support or just those nice comments, it almost makes me choked up actually. It's genuinely something that I appreciate to see this kind of feedback. And of course the financial support as well, but just it really, I can't tell you guys how much it really does mean. It really, really does mean to me when I open my phone and I go to the comments section in the studio. There's a YouTube studio app for content creators that I have downloaded. It sits next to on my phone screen next to the YouTube app, and I almost religiously I open the studio app and just check the analytics just to see. I'm like, ooh, how have my videos been doing? Have they gotten more views? Whatever. And I always press the comments button. I always press the comments button, and it's this nice screen where it just shows you all the recent comments. It's sorted. It's organized by newest to oldest. So the newest comments are always showing up on top. I don't know if you guys knew that, but content creators have a very easy way to see the newest comments. They do not have to I used to think that like, oh my goodness, how is any like YouTuber gonna see my comment if I comment here? Like they're what are they gonna do? Open up their old video and like scour through comments? They're not gonna answer. They're not gonna see what I even had to say. Actually, it's far from true. What they have a really easy way to see your comments, and it's all consolidated very nicely in one screen, but nothing else going on. It just comment, and you can even filter it by ones you've responded to or not. So I see all the comments, but if I'm particularly busy or if my channel was maybe more popular, I could imagine that the comments would get buried, even in that neat, clean view. But I really wanted to say, my whole point with that was to say that thank you all so sincerely for the comments that you share every day. It does not go unnoticed, and I am so grateful and humbled in all of it for just how frequent and how nice those positive comments have been on all of my videos. It's been a lovely time seeing all them throughout my channel's time. Thank you for continuing to give that positive commentary. Okay, let's keep going. Khaled says, thank you so much for your input, Dan. I will be sure to give T3 more plus more time. To be honest, I rarely found a review calling T3 Plus muddy. That's why I thought of a defect. Well, you know, it's never impossible that there's defects, but I'm leaning towards, yeah, it probably is more psychological and personal and library specific and what you've been from. And it's probably all of those everyday factors, probably. Oh, you might also want to check like the cable. If it's flipped the wrong direction, that could sometimes make things sound wonky or weird. Or you didn't push it in all the way. As simple as a mistake as that is, it does happen. Oh wait, let me keep going. Hold on. What price range? Oh, somebody's talking to somebody else. Didrik says Kiwi cadenza. How about them? I don't like them. I don't like the cadenza. I'll be very blunt. I don't like them. I don't like there's a few budget picks I really just don't like. I don't like the cadenza. I don't like the original Truth Ear Zero from Crinacle. I don't like. You can check the ranking list. There's a whole tab of things I don't like. I'm very straight to the point about those things. Okay. Carmine says, holy cow, Dan, 10:54 p.m. Keep the coffee going. Full-time teacher, really? Yes, I am a teacher. Full-time. I taught 5th grade. I'm moving down to 4th grade next year. Switching it up, I guess. Reaper says, hey, Dan, thanks for your contribution to the community with your demos. First time I watched your video was when you were reviewing OH10, and I bought the OH10 after that, and it still is one of my favorite IEMs. Thank you. I'm glad it appealed to your tastes, your library, and your background, and where you were coming from. You never know with these things. I feel so bad when people buy something out of what my tastes are when I happen to review, and then they just don't like it. Just doesn't, for whatever circumstantial reason to them, it just doesn't click. I always feel bad when I see that, but I'm very glad that it worked for you. This is Rick says, I liked the Kiwi cadenza. Oh, talking to somebody else. Patrick says, Dan, will you upload the demo of Dunu SA6 in the future? Yes, actually, it's on my table right now as one of the next ups. Hold on. Yeah, this is the original Dunu. I loved it. I fell in love with it. Somebody either lent it to me. I think somebody lent it to me is what happened. And I think I actually bought these with my own money. At the time, I don't think Linsol had it in their store. I think they do have something now that I could ask for. And as a reviewer who gets stuff for free now, I'm like, dang it, if only I waited or something. But I don't think they sell these anymore. I think they only do like a Mark II or a studio version or something. I haven't had the courage to ask them for free samples of it because I wasn't in a rush to review it, and I just feel bad asking for something that I'm not. It's like that's not going to be on my agenda coming up. It feels selfish. It feels wrong. I don't just ask for products just to have them. You know, I got too much work to do. I don't see it like, ooh, freebie, I get more gear for me. I mean, there's a cool factor at first to it, but then when you have like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 IEMs, you're just like, and you have a channel to work for, you're like, I'm going to see what I enjoy, but I'm like, I'm not going to pressure them to send me something. It's not responsible. I'm not going to review it soon. It's not, oddly somehow becomes like selfless through the process. I don't know how. Anyway, another super chat. Guys, you're amazing. This is really, thank you. Mark SR12 says, Dan, your videos are great and I love your honesty. Keep up the good work. I'm counting on it. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It really means a lot for, again, the commentary and the financial support is just super meaningful to me. Thank you. Ryan says, I prefer resin shells, actually. Fair enough. Resin is lighter. It's easier. It can be more form-fitting in the ear, I've noticed sometimes. It depends on the IM, of course. There's a certain durability to resin. It can feel like they can be knocked around and you wouldn't worry. I feel like a metal one would hit hard when it falls, and maybe I would feel more concerned about it breaking or scratching. I don't know. Let's keep reading. E1 says, also a resin shell fan here. Metal tarnishing or chipping, scratching looks worse to me. Yep, over time. Resin can be polished. Oh, interesting. Well, I guess technically you could polish metal, but it would be much more involved in nasty business, wouldn't it? Be more corrosive stuff or something you have to deal with. I do have a wood shop. I wonder if the sandpaper would be good enough, but then you'd have more scratches. Well, you could scratch it with smoother stuff. Anyway, whatever. Ryan says, for me, it's the condensation issues. Oh, true. Yeah, metal can condense water in the air. That is true because it saps the. Yeah. Interesting. I didn't even think about that. I guess I don't really wear metal shells. I don't really wear IEMs in like very humid or outdoor conditions, so I haven't really experienced it directly too much. Interesting perspective. Vincent says yen from Japan. Vincent, you're from Japan. By the way, I love Japan. I had my honeymoon there. I'm in love with the country as at least a visitor. Kind of intimidates me to imagine living there, though, with the very, what seems to me, from looking from the outside, seems to be a very unhealthy work culture in a lot of ways. Everybody gets home really late. I noticed when I was on the trains there, everybody got home at like 8 p.m. or something like that. I can't imagine doing that. That's just crazy to me. 7, 8 p.m., whatever it is. Mohammed says, suggest a best DAC. The best DAC for IEMs is the Apple $9 dongle. Spoil yourself. Get the dongle. I actually did prefer for a while this smaller form factor from DD Hi-Fi because it like snaps right into the phone, and it's like the most minimal impact on the cable in your pocket possible. But they kind of broke over time, so I kind of default back to the Apple ones. I recommend them because the DD Hi-Fi is like $45, and they break, which surprised me. They actually broke over time. But the Apple ones, I've never had one broken Apple dongle, and I use them like crazy. And they're cheap. Even if they did break, you can replace them and not even approach the price of the DD Hi-Fi somebody else got. So, Hitanshu says, I am from India, and here Androids are much more used than iPhones. Fair enough. Can you please make a video or tell me how we can hear lossless, high-res quality music on Android? Well, it starts with having a lossless source, right? You have to have an app that has lossless or high-res, which is basically everything these days. Even Apple Music offers high-res, lossless or whatever. Especially if you download it while you're at your home network, and then you have your downloaded music on the go, lossless, not streaming over the internet. That's the way to go. If you're into lossless. In terms of getting that delivered through your IEM properly through the connection, through the DAC or cable, well, they do sell an Apple dongle that's 3.5 millimeter for your IM to go into, but instead of Lightning, which is iPhone, they sell these with USB-C ends. And I think the United Kingdom recently passed some law where like all future iPhones have to have USB-C ports. So pretty soon the iPhones are going to be a lot more similar to the Android phones in terms of the USB-C compatibility stuff. Okay, So not much of a video to make. If you want USB-C connectivity, Apple provides a dongle just like the one I just showed, but with USB-C instead of Lightning. So I'd probably recommend that. All right, let's keep reading. Guys, we're almost done. It is getting late. I'm just going to finish out the questions and then maybe go on to a ramble on some subject. Maybe not. We'll see. Grand Here Ciark, if I'm pronouncing that right, says, your in-depth analysis with sound demos are a fantastic resource. Thanks for making them. You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. Let's keep reading. I fell asleep earlier listening to the stream, so I missed a bit. Did you see anything about the MEST MKIII? Do you know if you'll get your hands on it? I'll tell you, if Linsol sells it, I will get it. Because I am going to ask for that like crazy. Of course I will, you know? Because the unique Melody MEST MKII has been my top, well, and the Mark I, actually, have been my top favorites forever, you know, since trying them. So if anybody's going to try the Mark IIIs, I'm on board. I'm pretty sure they'll give me a free sample too, because they've given me everything for free that I've asked for. So I don't see a reason why they wouldn't once they start selling the Mark III. Paul says this is... Oh, he's talking to somebody else. Tokyo was intimidating. Tokyo was intimidating, but it was actually my favorite city, you know, of everywhere I went. I went to Kyoto. I went to Kobe. I went somewhere else, and I just don't remember right now. It's kind of late, I guess. My brain's not working. But Tokyo ended up being my favorite. It was just like the best food everywhere. Not that other places had bad food. It was just like everything's so accessible in Tokyo. There's just so much to do and see. I loved Tokyo. I could spend my whole time in Japan in Tokyo with only like a day trip going somewhere else. I still need to try Hokkaido, the whole like northern area. I still need to try Okinawa to see how their beaches are and stuff. But in terms of like central Tokyo, central Japan, Tokyo was my favorite for sure. Let's keep going. People talking to each other about DACs and amps and stuff. MEST Mark II is going to be discontinued. Oh, dang. Well, let's hope the Mark III is really good then. Because what if the Mark III is not as favorable as the Mark II? You know, because when you change tuning, you're not like necessarily making things better. You're just trying a different tuning. So what if it turns out it's a different sound that people like, but they kind of missed what the Mark II offered? Something kind of like that happened with the Mark I going to the Mark II. I fortunately still have a Mark I in this box here. It's actually in my rows of things I need to record and upload. I'm going to have a Mark I video up, so my goal is to have a Mark I demo, a Mark II demo, and a Mark III when it comes out, and people can really hear the full history of the MEST lineup and determine for themselves how much they miss what used to be versus what's come out. It's going to be a great conversation when all three are up on the channel. I'm going to probably have a video dedicated to it. I have to, because they're just so good. Pricing is higher too, $1,900 to $2,400 depending on the color. Wow. So they just keep going up in price and phasing out the previous generations. That's a certain kind of move to be making. I don't know. But hey, if they're riding off of the success of the previous ones, they know they have great brand recognition. They know people love their product. If they want to make more money and grow as a business, all the power to them. But they are going to lose some potential customers who can't afford it. So, you know what? Once people hear all the demos on my channel, they can make a decision on their own, and they can get a used MEST Mark I or II if they preferred those sounds over the newer model. Yeah, maybe they'll have a mini MEST, you know? Okay, guys, this has been lovely. I just want to reflect before I leave that and for anybody who's still here and who's watching this later when it's on the channel, this has been quite a ride. This whole channel, this whole thing, it's been a journey, truly. to go from where I started to where I am now, to have the studio set up, to have the fans, to have people who respect the work, who like the work, who appreciate it. The amount of stuff that I've learned and I could have never have imagined getting here and having so much access to so many IMs. This is like a dream come true for any hobbyist. So I can never complain about any of it, really. It's just onward and upward, you know. Just try to make more money off of it while still maintaining the integrity. To me, it's not. I don't find the integrity issue so difficult, honestly, personally. Maybe it's because I have a full-time job. Maybe that's a huge part of it, honestly, because like I probably make 3 times more as a teacher than when I get paid. what I get off of this whole YouTube thing. And so this is just a lot of it's just for fun, and any extra money I can make is just like cool. But I'm gonna keep sharing my opinions 100%. I'm gonna keep saying I'm usually the guy who poo-poos on everything. So like, I don't know. Why I don't get it. Why even be biased though? Like, why hype something up and another item up and another item up when you could just find like a handful that you really love and just continue to hype those throughout your YouTube career? Like, I'm not trying to get people to buy more. I'm just trying to get people to buy what I think sounds great, period. And if it so happens that the T3 Plus, which is kind of old at this point, if the T3 Plus continues to be my favorite at that price, or my favorite suggestion for somebody to start the hobby, then I'm going to keep saying it. I'm not going to change that because something else comes out. And let's be real. There's like, guys, this hobby is bananas. Like, there's so much stuff that keeps coming out. And like, how many iterations of frequency tweaking can you get before you've kind of exhausted, by and large, all of the different flavors that really are out there? Does anybody know what I mean? Like, at some point, there's got to be a tipping point where the new products with their new frequencies are so similar enough to what's already been that there really isn't much of a point to buying the new thing. But you know what? I think there's such a deluge of things, though, that the history of our hobby I'm speculating this, but I kind of suspect that our own history in this hobby is getting buried beneath the new products. And I'm starting to suspect that if we haven't already crossed that point, we will soon, where people should really stop looking and for new and looking in what's already been. So I'm hoping my channel can provide that what's already been. I'm hoping my channel can be that repository for the history, and people can really check for themselves to see if something is better than what's been, or if they should just go to an old product. That's my 2 cents. And with that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu. It's been lovely. I appreciate all of you. Please, if you appreciate this stream and my effort and all this stuff, please consider, let me share it before you go if you haven't done it already. Let me just get this link out there. I always share this link at the end of a stream, or throughout it, I guess. If you haven't done so already, I really oh, dang it, don't do that one. Don't do it. Wait, hold on, let me delete it. That's the broken one. Hold on. They always do this. Hold on. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay. So if you haven't done so already and you want to support me without actually spending more money than you already are in the hobby, this is the way to do that. You just buy your products on Linsol like you ordinarily would, whether it's tips, cables, some other product, whatever. And then anything you get, I'll get a percentage off the purchase instead of it all just going to Linsol. Thank you so much. Consider bookmarking that last link on your bookmarks bar or for your shopping. And just, I love you all, genuinely. I say that to my students. I say that to you. I genuinely appreciate and love, just much love, as they say. Much love. See you guys on the next video. I'll stick around for like a second to see if anybody has any last minute questions in the chat, but otherwise, I'll see you guys later. Thank you, Dodgy. Dr. Rez said Scherer a Dan fanboy but won't admit it. No, actually, I think Scherer respects something about me because I put effort in some way that he respects. Maybe it's the effort of trying to be honest or something. I think he does actually like me, but I don't know if he's a fanboy because he's criticized me. He's criticized me, or at least not me, but like my viewers and all that. But anyway, guys, have a good night. Yes, good night, good night, good night. Bye. All the best. Bookmark the link. Thank you, Ryan. Sorry if there's a lag time between your chats and me responding. That's the latency of this whole thing. Good night, everybody. It's been a real pleasure. See ya.